Oh man, that first shot was close. Woo! That first shot was really close. You can see it there at roughly the 4 o'clock position, very, very close to the shoulder of the hostage. For those that don't know, that's an action target, hostage swinger target, and that is one of the best tools you can ever have because it's very versatile. The lollipop comes off, you can drop it on the ground and just focus on the body. In fact, let me tell you what this drill is before we move on. This is the church defense drill that I got from my mentor, Ken Hackathorn. It begins and ends at 10 yards. When the buzzer sounds, when the shot timer sounds, the clock starts running, it's 5 seconds. You rotate, identify the threat, draw your weapon, focus up, front sight post, squeeze, pull the trigger. It's I shoot, the weapon, the target rotates, I lower, finger off the trigger, draw the weapon in, and rotation. And why am I doing this rotation? Watch where my muzzle is. I'm going to give this to you in a series of steps. Watch where my muzzle is. It's never covering any part of my body, and I'm able to completely check 360. In fact, this is actually done like this. You're actually moving around. Once this is done, then the weapon goes away quickly. Well, efficiently. Okay, the reason for this, the reason I rotate and I place my support hand here is if this guy's cockroach buddy starts coming up behind me, I now have the ability to fend him off. I have the ability to begin shooting from here if I have to. I have taken my sidearm and I've drawn it in tight, and I've made sure that if I have to shoot, the slide has full travel. And I've also taken the scapula, the shoulder blade, and I've done this to it. So instead of doing this, the chicken wing, I rotate the scapula in like this, and it tucks the elbow in. And the reason for that is it keeps someone from getting an arm in here, hooking me and getting my gun away from me. So this is to make sure that I don't lose my sidearm. And then once everything is clear, then the sidearm can go away. Oh, and trigger finger is hooked high. So if there is, so that if there is a bang, another bang, or a struggle, there is no chance of my trigger finger inadvertently ending up in the trigger. Okay, this is going to be another video speaking directly. You know what? Come here. The reason I brought you over here is I get way too much sun exposure, and I get tired of coming out here and sunburning. And some of you are thinking, why don't you wear sunblock? Because I hate sunblock. Sunblock makes my face break out, and that stuff and I don't get along. So anyways, I wanted to speak. I've been doing a short series of videos so far for law enforcement, and I wanted to speak directly to my law enforcement brothers and sisters. And I'm inviting those of you who are my fellow citizens because I'm also a fellow citizen. I did a video the other day and realized that there are so many facets that I just still hadn't even covered, and I realized that this really is going to have to turn into a series of videos because America is entering a very treacherous place right now. And first and foremost, I want to say this to the cops out there. I need you to consider the gigantic elephant in the room. It is the administration that is now in place is the same administration who supported Defund the police, who spent real dollars to bail out the monsters who were busy tearing up American cities, beating, shooting your fellow and my fellow brothers in arms. Remember guys, once a cop, always a cop. You have been maligned by the left, and now the left is in control. And a great many of you are still busy doing their bidding for them. There are people who are still getting arrested for mask mandate violations. There are people who are still getting their businesses shut down. And remember, when a governor signs an edict, because that's really what they are, or a mayor, or a health department, or whatever the case may be, and they say, mask this, shut that down, blah, 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 they're not the ones that are enforcing it. You guys are, the cops. You guys are the ones that are showing up, and you're following the orders, and you're hauling people off to jail, and you're shutting businesses down. And guys, people are realizing, they're beginning to wake up to what's really going on. And I'm going to say this boldly. America is in the ditch right now 100% because police officers followed the orders that were given to them. What do I mean? What do I mean by that? Okay, let me give you two very stark examples of this. California and Michigan. Two states run by thug governors. Shut everything down. Actually, New York, let's give you three. Shut everything down. Shut everything down. Mask mandate out the wazoo. People have been arrested left and right. Businesses have been shut down, whether it's out of just direct response to fear or whether because the cops showed up and they supported the health department, they supported whatever department it was that showed up to do it, the cops were there to back them, to help shut your mom and pop businesses down. We've all been told stay in your homes, order fast food. Guess what, guys? The essential businesses in America are the fast food restaurants. They don't sell food, they sell food-like substances. We've been told stay in your homes, watch Netflix. Oh, watch Amazon Prime. Oh, look at that, a gigantic wealth shift. Guys, wake up. And the reason we are where we are, the reason the elections were able to be run the way they were is because police officers helped the left shut America down and keep America shut down. Now, if you're taking offense to that, it's because you're the problem or because you're weak-minded and you're taking offense on behalf of somebody else's behaviors. So take note of what I just said. If you're offended by what I'm saying, it's because you're one of the cops that followed the orders, or you're one of the cops who thinks that somehow I'm breaking brotherhood by piking out the cops who followed orders. Think about what you're saying. If you're getting third-party offended, as I like to call it, you're offended that cops followed orders and shut down America and got us thrown in the trash can. You're offended that I'm saying to you that the reason we are where we are is because cops followed orders. Do you understand the lunacy of what you're actually feeling? Yeah, feeling. Everyone's driven by feelings these days. America's in the ditch because police officers followed orders, shut down America. We cannot get back on our feet because cops are still keeping America shut down. Now, praise God, I live in Tennessee. And I'm going to be very specific. I live in Hamilton County, Tennessee, where from day one of last year, 2020, of this whole COVID stupidity, our Sheriff's Department and Chattanooga Police Department, which is within Hamilton County, said, we're not going to write tickets, citations, for mask mandate. Not gonna. The mask mandate has so many stinking holes in it, it's an absolute joke. And if you're not exploiting those, well, let me rephrase that. If you're not identifying those and using them to educate people, then you're a fool. If you're just going along with your little masky mask and just going along and getting along, you're weak-minded. One of my biggest frustrations in America right now are the people walking around wearing American flag masks, don't tread on me masks, we the people masks, Second Amendment masks. Seriously? You do understand that this is an algorithm. The mask is an algorithm. It got run on us. What is the easiest way to see if you have a populace that's ready to accept the next big step? You say, mask up. Everybody mask up. It's the easiest way to identify if we are still warrior-minded or if we are sheep-minded. And guess what? Everybody caved. Everybody caved. But I'm proud to say that I didn't cave. Now, of course, some of that is easy for me because I get to work from home. But when I go out to go grocery shopping or when I go out to go, buy an article of clothing, I have to constantly stand my ground. I have to constantly pull up the mask mandate and show people it's not a law, it's a mandate, and there are exceptions to that mandate. Can I show them to you? And people still get pissy, and I have to say to them, so what you're telling me is that your business's policy is to medically discriminate against a person? Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. No, but that is what you're saying. And then usually at that point, they back away. Now, let me be very clear with you about something, because I know someone's going to bring this up. When I'm asked to leave, I leave, even if I need something. A few weeks ago, I needed to get scrubs for my wife and my daughter. They'd both started different jobs. I went into the uniform store to buy the scrubs, and I got accosted. I'm not kidding. I got accosted by one of the employees and the owner and one of the customers. I ended up hanging everything back on the rack and walking out the door because I realized that it had gotten so demonically oppressed in that business that I couldn't be there anymore. That now meant that I had to go home and order those items online and tell my wife and my daughter who needed those scrubs today that they couldn't get them and they had to wait 6 days to get them. Ultimately, they made it through, no problem. But I am genuinely inconveniencing myself to make sure that I do not give in to the mask mandate. That is how important this is, because if you're not practicing little courage now, when big courage is required of you, you will not be practiced up. They will be able to say, well, you gave in to the mask mandate. Why won't you give in to this mandate? America, wake up. Police officers, wake up. You hold all the power in America. Each and every one of you is wearing a body camera. Record those that are giving you illegal, unconstitutional orders. Release that video, and we, the people, will stand with you. And I know that someone's going to say, well, don't you understand that body cams are protected? Yes, I know they're protected. That means that the sergeant and or lieutenant and or captain that is in charge of the archives for all those body cams and all the vehicle cams, for the public that's watching this that doesn't understand, vehicle cams and body cams, excuse me, are password protected. So a police officer can't just erase what's on the body cam at will, unless of course they're wearing a personally owned body cam. But if it is a department issued body cam, it's probably going to be password protected so that they can't erase the hard drive that's inside that camera. So what I say to you is, that means that everybody in the police department is going to have to be on the same page. That means that you are going to find yourself in a position where your police department may, in fact, be at war with City Hall or Town Hall or the county mayor, because either all the cops are on the same page or they pick you off one at a time. And that's a microcosm of America. We are either all on the same page or they pick us off one at a time. Folks, I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to keep saying this. America is in the ditch right now because men and women of law enforcement followed every single order that was given to them. And because we are a sheeple people, we caved in. We caved in. We wore masks. We let them steal our country away from us, hand it over to the Chinese. And by the way, do yourself a favor and look up it's either the proverb or the story of the Xiaoxiujin, which is the assassin's mace. It's an old Chinese story of one kingdom taking over another kingdom by basically getting people within the kingdom, and at a key moment, whack, taking out the king. They have been after us. The Chinese have been after us for decades, 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 decades. They own so many sectors of America. They own so much of America. And they've been picking us apart one little piece at a time, one little piece at a time. And American law enforcement helped. And here we are. Now, I'm saying this to you as a God-fearing, America-loving citizen. I'm not a subject. If we do not pull together now, it's already past the 12th hour, guys. The enemy is already inside the country. If we do not pull together and get America up on her feet and rehabilitate it and start moving forward as Americans, we're done. Because what the agenda is now is Christian, terrorist, patriot, terrorist, God-fearing, terrorist. Guys and gals of law enforcement, I say this to you respectfully as one of your own. I take the oath that I made seriously years ago. I'm an oath keeper. I will never turn my back on that oath. What happened on January 6th at the Capitol is being spun and spun and spun and spun. And I guarantee you the history books, your children are going to be taught that people like me, God-fearing, America-loving, patriotic men and women were the ones who did that. When there is stacks and stacks of proof that that was done in conjunction with the Capitol Police, in conjunction with Antifa. The proof is out there. The proof is out there, folks, and there are people who are still fighting to fix what happened. Now, let me tell you right now, I firmly believe, this is so painful to have to say, I firmly believe we're in this for the long haul. This is not going to get flipped. Our focus now needs to be on fixing the election system, not on flipping the election, because I don't think that's just going to, look, unless God says otherwise, I don't think that's going to happen. And guess what? I got news for you. I firmly believe that President Trump knew that it was going to end up this way, and that there was nothing he was going to be able to do short of the Insurrection Act, which would have created another problem unto itself. Look, let me leave you with this thought. If America had not woken up, and I firmly believe America has now woken up, there are still a bunch of you that are asleep, which is hilarious. Oh, March Madness is back. Whoa. Really? You're still watching sports in 2021? sports run by the same networks that run the news channels that buried America, why are you still watching sports? Why are you watching anything that Hollywood has to put out? We got run into the ground by every single technocrat out there. Ladies and gentlemen of law enforcement, I beseech you, stop following the unconstitutional orders that are being given to you to continue to lock down America. Because we are in a mess because you followed orders in 2020, and now in 2021 I still see police officers following orders, still acting like that badge and uniform that you're wearing is nothing but another job. It's a calling, it's not a job. If you don't like it, you don't like who you are, and you don't like the general public, then get out. Because you're a part of the problem, you're not part of the solution. For those of you that are citizens, I need you to wake up and stop having this mindset that, oh, I back the blue, because guess what? You may not realize it, that's woke signaling. You're woke signaling to the police officers, don't pick on me, I back the blue, look at my little thin blue line sticker. Stop. You don't even know what the thin blue line actually means. Those of us that are cops do. So those of you that are citizens that have a thin blue line sticker and you're not a cop, you may want to stop because you don't really know what the thin blue line actually stands for. And with that, where that will end. My fellow Americans, we are at a decision point in America. If we do not change who we are as a people and start acting like Americans and start acting like people who are supportive of one another and supportive of the Constitution of the United States, which is a reflection of God's law, then we're lost. And let me be very clear about something. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Catholic, I don't care. I think enough people from every walks of life have now woken up and realized there is no longer a left, there is no longer a right. There is now just a middle. And God's people have always been stuck in the middle. Because whether you're talking about jihad or whether you're talking about crusades, both sides have done atrocities against humanity in the name of who? God. So what makes you think that one side is better than the other? God's people, God's true people have always been caught in the middle. Hang on a second, there's a spider on my tripod. God's people have always been caught in the middle. God's people will be caught in the middle, all the way to the end, and that's where God's people will be saved from, plucked up from the middle. My apologies, guys. It is spider central out here. All right, guys, that's what I got for you guys today. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them. Guys, I learned so much from your comments, so keep them coming. As always, I thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. Please get those guns out and practice.